Hey everybody, it's Carnosaurus Rex here, and welcome to all my Carnosauruses and Ketosauruses. Today we're going to be talking about glucose. Specifically, are carbs and glucose an essential food group? Stick around, we'll be right back. We're going to tackle this subject. We've been told for years that carbs, especially glucose, are essential dietary needs. But what if I told you that glucose wasn't an essential food group? As a matter of fact, it's not even an essential nutrient. That's right. Your body does not need carbohydrates to survive. Let's go ahead and break this down, guys. Well, let's start. What does essential mean anyway? That's right. Essential nutrients are compounds that the body cannot produce on its own in significant quality. They must come from food and are vital for disease prevention, growth, and overall health. And today I'm going to show you why carbohydrates are not among them. According to the Institute of Medicine in 2005, an essential nutrient is one that must be obtained from food because the body cannot produce it. Right here we have some essential nutrients. As you see, we got amino acids, which is proteins, fatty acids from fat, and we do not have carbohydrates. So let me explain to you how your body makes glucose without carbohydrates.
Hey there, science enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of gluconeogenesis, specifically focusing on how the liver plays a crucial role in this process. Gluconeogenesis is the process by which the body produces glucose, a vital source of energy, from non-carbohydrate precursors such as proteins and fats. And guess what? The liver is the primary organ responsible for this amazing feat. When our body needs more glucose, the liver steps in to convert proteins and fats into glucose. It's a complex process involving various enzymes and pathways, but it's essential for our overall health and well-being. So, the next time you're enjoying a protein-rich meal, remember that your liver is hard at work, converting those proteins into glucose to keep you energized and healthy.
So if glucose isn't essential, how does your body get energy? Simple. Your liver has a built-in process called gluconeogenesis. This means your body makes glucose from non-carbohydrate sources like protein and fat. And I can verify this. I have not had sugar or carbohydrates in over a year and 3 months. I had my blood work done a month and a half ago, and my glucose levels were perfect. Perfect. Right in the middle of the green with no carbohydrates in my system. Now, right now, some people are going to argue, but your brain needs glucose. And yes, certain parts of the brain do require glucose. But again, your body makes it on its own. Ketones serve as a vital energy source for the brain, particularly in situations of low carbohydrate intake. So why have we been told otherwise? Good question. So somewhere around the 1970s, the government guidelines started emphasizing grains and carbohydrates and sugars. Needless to say, this is around the same time the obesity levels in America started rising.
Hey there, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into a fascinating topic that's been making headlines lately: the correlation between increased carb intake and the rise in obesity and diabetes over the decades. So, let's take a look at this graph that illustrates this trend. As you can see, the number of carbohydrates consumed per person has been steadily rising since the 1970s. This rise in carb intake has coincided with a significant increase in obesity and diabetes rates.
So if glucose is not an essential nutrient, why do so many nutritional guidelines push carbohydrates? The truth is, they're cheap and there's a lot of money in keeping people dependent on high carbohydrated diets.
If you were raised in the US or many parts of the world in the last 50 years, chances are you've heard the message loud and clear. Eat lots of carbs and sugar, but stay away from fats and proteins. But did you know that this narrative was largely created by the government and food companies in the 1970s? And not because it was based on solid science, but because of financial interests and political pressures. Let's dive into how this all started. In 1977, the US Senate held hearings about the links between diet and heart disease. At the center of the conversation was a man named Ancel Keys. a nutritionist whose research heavily influenced dietary guidelines. Keyes was instrumental in pushing the idea that saturated fat and cholesterol were directly linked to heart disease. Despite the fact that many of his studies were flawed and selective, a 1972 Harvard study, funded by the Sugar Research Foundation, downplayed sugar's role in heart disease and obesity, while placing all the blame on fats. This directly influenced the U.S. government's dietary guidelines, which prioritized carbs over fats. The very advice that was meant to improve our health had the opposite effect. People ate more carbs than ever, especially processed sugars, while avoiding fat, thinking it was the cause of their health problems. But as it turns out, the real issue wasn't fat, it was the excessive sugar and refined carbs we were consuming. Today, many people are waking up to the truth about nutrition. Low-carb, keto, and carnivore diets are making a comeback, showing us that fat and protein are not the villains we were once led to believe. These diets focus on whole nutrient-dense foods, and people are seeing significant health benefits, like weight loss, better blood sugar control, and improved heart health. So, the next time you hear someone say carbs are good for you, remember this story. We've been misled for decades by powerful food industries and flawed government guidelines. But now, it's up to you to take control of your health by embracing whole, natural foods that nourish your body. Stay informed, stay healthy, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more truths about nutrition.
So basically, the promotion of carbohydrates as a dietary necessity have been driven more by political and economic factors than by scientific research. The government guidelines have a high carbohydrate focus. They believe that 50 to 60% of your daily calories should come from carbohydrates. These are things like breads, rices, and pastas. But the carnivore and the keto sees that this high carb intake promotes insulin resistance, fat storage, and inflammation. Refined grains spike blood sugar, leading to energy crashes and cravings. Carnivore diets eliminate grains entirely, arguing they contain anti-nutrients like lectins and cause gut irritation. They also, in the government, focus on a low-fat, anti-saturated fat stance. Saturated fat was demonized, blamed for heart disease. They recommended replacing animal fats with vegetable oils, such as soybean, canola, and corn oil. As a keto carnivore, modern research debunks the saturated fat myth. It does not cause heart disease. Vegetable oils are highly inflammatory, leading to metabolic disorders. Animal fats such as tallow, butter, and lard provide essential nutrients and are more stable for cooking. 3, they also promote the lack of sugar restriction in the government. Sugar intake was not strictly limited until around 2015, which recommended 10% of your daily calories come from sugar. So since the 70s, sugar has been added to low-fat processed foods, making them more tasty.
You see, back in the 1970s, the food and science industries began a campaign to promote sugar as a healthy alternative to fat. This was a clever marketing strategy, but it had some unintended consequences. As we all know, sugar is a source of empty calories, and consuming too much of it can lead to health problems like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. And guess what? The food industry knew this all along. So, the next time you're reaching for that sugary snack, remember the history behind it and make a healthier choice.
And how do us carnivores and ketovores look at this? Sugar is addictive and a major driver of obesity, diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. Cutting sugar leads to stable energy levels, reduced cravings, and better brain functions. As a carnivore or a ketosaurus, we eliminate sugar entirely, focusing on meats and fats. Number 4, they encouraged frequent eating, recommending 3 meals plus snacks throughout the day to maintain energy, which is something you must do on a carbohydrated diet to avoid the crashes. The carnivore keto way is we skip meals. Sometimes we're not even hungry. We forget to eat. We have to remind ourselves to eat because we do not go through these crashes and these starving moments. Eating all day keeps insulin elevated, preventing fat loss. This is science. A lot of carnivores I know eat 1 to 2 meals per day. In closing, guys, we have to take control of our health. I have been on a carnivore keto diet for a year and 3 or 4 months now. I'm going to show you some of my pictures, some of my results here. Hey guys, Carnosaurus Rex here. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you're serious about your health like I am, I've lost 200 pounds in a year and 4 months. Go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with keto recipes, carnivore recipes for the ketosauruses and carnosauruses out there. I'm also going to be coming out with the science videos to tell y'all the science behind what we're doing here. Because if you don't know why you're doing it and you don't know how to do it, you're not going to be able to do it, man. Let's get healthy together. Stick around. I'll see you on the next video. Go ahead, subscribe and like. I'll see you guys next time.